So, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome to another scene for the living world of darkness, Rage Across New York, where we are hanging out on Sept in the Umbra because that's where the training grounds is. There is no Tellurian equivalent anymore. It's just in the Umbra. And since it is narratively convenient, that is where we're going to be. So I imagine that various people are doing their various things. All things considered, strangely enough, 10 Point is going to be wielding one of the practice swords and very poorly squaring up with a dummy because, well, she's better than she used to be? Question mark? Hopeful tone? Still not especially good, but bless her little heart, she's trying.
10 Point, I really can't tell which one of us is worse at this.
Look, there's a certain amount of things that translate well from clawing and biting, and, there's the archery, but this is...
It's called sticking with the pointy end, 10 Point. It's quite simple.
Okay.
There isn't a pointy end. It's a practice sword, right?
All right. Raya, I understand why you started her on this. Why have you started doing it with me?
I mean, you were there. You were a handy body.
Okay.
I mean, you're the Arun, so I thought you'd be more yeah, sword fighting and stuff.
I have claws and fangs.
Yeah, but come on, style. Just shrug.
She'll lean over to Colin a little bit. And if I spar with him, it doesn't last very long. So,
Colin just kind of has this very suppressed amount of mirth going on. Like a pop can that's too full of laughter.
All right, we're all being quiet. Get in here, Tom.
What? Helena was already there before you guys, so she's been off to the side. Probably she has. Oh yeah, she's definitely noticed you guys. She's perception 4 for fuck's sake. She's still punching away. I say punching, flailing at one of the dummies, like she has been for a while. Probably the last 4 hours or so, relentlessly, in inverted commas, as much as she can. So much so she's actually wearing normal clothes now after destroying her other set for reasons unknown. She's that long hair, because it is in the Umbra. Her hair is really fucking long at this point, tied up. And she's just flailing.
Helena, look.
What?
Okay, so when your hands are claws, you've got the right idea. You need that arc to it, right? Because our claws aren't super straight. Can't just people. So yeah, you got to loop. But when you're just using your hands, a straight line is the best line.
Breathe as you're punching as well. Don't be all penting up yourself, because otherwise you'll be taking a long breath and you'll not be able to do anything.
All right, I'm trying. All right, it's not easy.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
And 10 Point finally lets her practice weapon kind of... she's still holding on to it, but she lets it kind of drop. Glancing over. I found a rhythm helps.
I mean, I don't know. Look, you guys are all the experts here. I'm just doing what I've been told.
He just told you. Who told you to do that? Just punch something randomly till you...
Well, nobody told me to punch something randomly. She just kind of rubs her forehead a bit. I want to get better.
Have you ever done boxing before, Helena? Anything like that?
Nothing.
Okay.
I had my second ever fight today, if that counts. Which, admittedly, I mean, I went out twice.
Who are you fighting?
Simon.
Rub his chin a bit.
What's to be expected, Henri? Timbo will finally wander towards the rack, kind of stowing the practice sword.
Walk over towards Helena, examining the dummy and turn and look at her. So, I want you to count in your head 1, 2, 3. Develop that rhythm and keep at it until it almost becomes like a muscle reflex.
10-point glances at Aiden. 10-point glances at her post, her best friend.
She nods and she'll do it. You can see it ticking in her head.
And I want you to keep that slow 1, 2, 3 count in your head each time. And then I want you to build it faster. So it's 1, 2, 3, if you get me. Build it slowly and concentrate on your breathing. And then you work on your footwork then.
Yeah, all right. She does it. She tries. You see it keeping.
You can hit the hardest, which is always good, but you have to be the fastest as well. Because you can hit like a freight train and never hit anything, but when you do hit, it hurts. But if you're not fast enough to hit something, well, then you're fucked.
Yeah, I learned that one today.
Some
kind
people
of
think
rubs the jaw.
Some people think it's all about strength and power, but a good person who can fight, like Colin, it's about speed and stamina.
She just nods. Carries on, trying to keep that rhythm. You can see
Sorry, go ahead.
Let's say you can see like she keeps it for so long, but then she starts losing it, and then keeps it, and it's weird.
10-point is going to amble up to her post, her best friend. This is not her best friend. Spoiler. It's actually one of the many posts in the training grounds that usually one would swing, a weapon at. And evidence to the kind of rusty staining on it or fairly dark staining on it will be made relatively clear when she glances over, waits for Helena to find a rhythm again, and then in time with it, we'll square up with the post and barehanded start punching it. Very steadily, very rhythmically. Like, she is not the best combatant, but she's really good at punching this particular post, particularly in time.
I mean, she ain't gonna stop punching.
Essentially what she's doing is, she's doing so loud enough to create good solid thumps each time she hits it, and is maintaining the rhythm to help keep Helena from losing hers.
It doesn't take long. She notices this straight away. It's Helena. Again, she picks it up. Aiden is standing so could even see her. Like, her eyes start darting towards the side, though. She's trying to stay focused, but she just can't really.
Aiden will pick up one of the small kind of buckets with the shillelagh and start banging it and go 1, 2, 3, and every time her eyes dart away, he hits the thing again, so she like snaps into focus.
She doesn't, again, she's keeping. It's doing well. She's getting there.
I'm gonna roll my stamina. See how long it takes. Doesn't take long.
When can I jump in, guys?
Whenever you like. We have a handful of people on the training grounds, one punching a dummy, one punching a pole with now bloody knuckles.
Okay. Off in the distance, you will see not making too much fuss about being quiet and/or stealthy. Fatima will come looking disturbed, upset, and frantic.
And Colin looks at 10 Point, he looks at Aiden, he looks at Fatima, and he looks at 10 Point, and he looks at Aiden, and he looks at Fatima. And there's just such a great woof of resignation. His big, broad shoulders slump. And he begins to trudge, crunch, 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 towards Fatima in her time of need.
She waits, and she saw them do it, and she's going to repeat it. She just falls back.
Okay, 10 for enthusiasm. Need to pick up a little more on form. There are ways to do it so you don't hurt yourself, like a smooth roll.
No one really explained it.
Okay.
Why we should do it.
All right. I tell you what. You can get up. I'm going to help you out here.
Why do we have to show submission? Stupid. Sorry, Raya.
It's okay. It's okay. I just got to keep telling myself that you don't really come from this, so sometimes you got to break it down. It's just about respect for the rank. That is what it's about.
Oh, so like the way you call a doctor, right?
Right.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. You got to understand that all our ranks come from challenge tasks that person has to complete every single time. And that shit's hard. So you're just showing respect for the fact that that person, that rank, obviously did something.
Do I have to do that?
Depends on how high above you the person is. Right now, when you're a cub, you're going to end up on your back a lot. But when it's one rank difference, like me and a Fostern over there, I just show the vulnerable part of my neck, and he kind of cranes his head to the side. Show the vulnerable part of my neck right here. They'll let me stop when they let me stop. 2 ranks or greater, you're going to end up on your back. But there aren't a lot of people who are going to expect to just throw yourself on the ground. You can make a smooth transition. It's a lot easier in Lupus.
Okay.
Yeah. I actually heard rumors that in a lot of Glasswalker type places and some of the more modern leaning places in my tribe, the common thought is that, you're in Hamid, I can already see your stomach. So tipping your head back a bit, not a big deal, but around here you got a lot of people who want to keep things as close to traditions as possible. So it's just safest bet. But don't throw yourself to the ground, okay? Nobody needs a concussion. Just smooth transition. And he even demonstrates, it's like he's Dex 3, so it's not like the best thing in the world, but you do see he kind of gets down on a knee and just smoothly rolls into his side, and then he's on his back.
It makes sense. But I don't understand, like, it feels, I don't know. Why do you need to, it feels like a bit of showing off, I understand you're a badass, and I'm not trying to take that away from you, but like...
No, I know where you're coming from. Look, there are a whole lot of things that a lot of people will tell you, well, that's just the way we do it. A whole lot of things. I can't say I understand everything myself, to be honest with you. But when it comes to etiquette stuff like this, you're really, like 90% of the time, you're just trying to make life easier on yourself. And there's going to come a time where, like, if you get up there, you're like an Adrian or an Athro, you can, for the most part, whoever you encounter, decide you want to do it your way. But this, I think the best explanation I could give you is that there's something in the back of our heads, because we've got some wolf sensibilities in us that just responds more viscerally to that. It's the best way I could put it.
Okay.
And Colin shrugs. I have to admit, a lot of the unknowing cubs here have made me have to think pretty damn hard about things that I just took for a given. Pretty damn hard. But the thing is, if you keep asking yourself why at this early stage, you're going to miss out on all the how. And the how is what's going to keep you going right now. Once you get that shit down and you get up in rank, you can think about why all day. I do it. Drives me fucking crazy.
So I guess the best thing is just try to get through the day and not worry about the why.
For now, yeah.
So don't talk much and keep my head down?
Depends on the circumstance. But a lot of the time, that's going to be your life. Like, I'm a Cleoth. I'm ranked. Still happens to me all the fucking time. All the fucking time.
Are they like walking back towards the group by chance?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yay.
How many people are there? Curious.
What, like present?
Yeah, present. Like, who's she looking at?
I think
Because she
Aiden
really
and
didn't
Helen
get
are
a. She really didn't
yeah,
get a good look
Aiden and
at
Helen
it.
are by.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh
Tom.
yeah, no, Aiden and Helen are by one pole, and Aiden is obviously trying to teach Helena some sort of punching rhythm, and 10 points by another one, I think.
Yeah. Helena's working on a dummy. Something that's actually meant to be punched, and thus, at least moderately cushioned. And Aiden, I imagine, is close by, smacking on a pail or something to help her keep time. Meanwhile, 10 Point is keeping the exact same time, though she is slightly removed from the other two and is punching a wooden pole that is not designed for punching. And her knuckles are split open.
And hello, right? Oh my gosh, you should probably get ointment for that. She runs over to 10 Point.
And 10 Point will finally kind of pause, blinking a glance over to her, and glancing down at her knuckles, and, well, you know, being a menace. Like, as Fatima is running up to her,
Mhm.
like, the skin is already starting to knit itself together. Like, pretty rapid, like, because if you think about it, this really is just bashing damage. It's compounded bashing damage, but yeah, as soon as she stops, they start just knitting themselves cleanly back together. There's still blood on her knuckles and hands, but
Sorry, okay.
she offers a shrug. Don't be alarmed. Not by this. Not when it's me.
Okay.
I feel like this in every form.
Looking at Aiden, what she just learned, hello, Raya, and she will show throat.
Just walk over, still like occasionally just banging on to make sure Helena keeps time. He just taps the side of her throat with his palm. You're fine, lass.
Okay. I have a question. Is it okay if I ask a question?
Yeah, you're fine. Ask away.
So, I'll be honest, and I don't cut corners. Hi, Helena. She'll just wave. Um,
Hello.
um, I really don't think I fit in anywhere else. So can I just be a Ronin?
The banging will stop.
Blink.
Colin, like
Everything stops.
Colin's face just turns like blank, like the .exe crashed.
And he'll Aiden will remain calm and he'll put down the thing very gently. Rub his chin. Say that again?
Did I say something wrong?
No, you didn't. You didn't, you're fine. You'll keep a smile. Who
I heard that if you don't like fit in someplace, like you can. I heard it was the quickest way for me to get back to see my family. So could I be a Ronin?
who told you this?
I was learning some history and it came up.
Fatima, if you want to talk to your mom, I can like reach out to Shaga and some people, and they could probably get a hold of her.
Like really easily.
She could
What?
even come here, Onrai.
Who?
What?
Nah.
What's a Ronin?
Never you mind. You point a finger at Helena. Almost kind of sternly for the first time.
And Timpo will finally come over to collect Helena, like kind of slip an arm around her. Just kind of mumbling, being like, we'll explain later.
Who told you that you could be a Ronin as a quick way to see your mother?
Does he look upset?
Oh yeah. That's rage 4 you're looking at right in the face.
She's overconfident, but she's not stupid. But she doesn't know what she should say right now, so she kind of just stops. Like, she just looks at you. I don't want to get anyone in trouble.
You're not going to get anyone in trouble. But it's very important that if someone's telling you you can do something which is considered bad among us, it's very important that we know who's saying that to you, who's very young and very new to this life.
It would be very bad for someone to teach the same thing to the other cubs, to make the impression that it's okay to become.
So what about? But I mean, she'll look.
Kind of pause, glance at Aiden. May I, Ryan?
You just nod.
And so she'll tug Helena finally away from the dummy and approach a bit closer so that she can talk at like a reasonable tone. Onrai, becoming Ronin means that you turn your back on everything that we fight for. And what we fight for is important. It's critical. Most people who become Ronin because they are cast out. Because they are banished but not killed. It is not a fate that you want. Wolves do not run alone. It is a bad, bad thing. It's very
Either
unfortunate.
Or they get picked up by, well, the enemy. The worm, usually.
Many of them fall to the promises of spiral dancers or to other enemies because they have no pack to care for them. No set to fall back to.
She looks. If you've honestly, for a person that looks like the way she's been acting, that she's very sure of herself. For the first time, she looks incredibly unsure of herself. Because she doesn't know what she should say next.
It's okay for you to not understand.
We had a Ronin here not too long ago. Killed a few people. In fact, one of them... in fact, that same Ronin killed my former packmate. Because she... well, let's just say her sister tread with some bad people. And so the Ronin did the same thing. Because the Ronin has no honor. Has no place with us. Because they were spurned. Or they did something bad that got them in that position.
It is, in a way, a crueler fate than death in the nation to be left to wander alone.
Okay. She looks and she bites her thumb.
For what it's worth, 10 Point at least does not look at all mad. If anything, she looks kind of almost like, a teacher that's gotten too fond of her students, like that kind of concerned.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely not like straight up maternal, but she definitely looks like concerned, worried.
Yeah,
but
Aiden
not
doesn't.
angry.
Aiden doesn't look mad at Fatima. He just looks mad that someone fucking told her that. You know what I mean? He's that kind of like that. Someone has. It's that kind of dad look, like someone just told her something she shouldn't have heard. Type of stare.
Look,
Go ahead.
I'm in the same boat as you. I get it. You wanna go out and see your family. I do. I mean, mine all the way in Canada still, so I've got a long walk. But yeah, look, just go on with what these guys are saying. It's not that bad here. It's not. I mean, it looks it. I'll admit it looks it, but it's not. You get used to it. This is coming from the one who thought they were tripping on LSD the first time they walked in here.
But I don't want to be a murderer.
No, neither do I.
10 Point's prominence again.
But the Impergium, she just kind of blurts out.
Aiden will fold his arms.
Impergium was a very long time ago, right?
Very long time.
But
we don't do those sorts of things anymore.
But
the nation has seen that is wrong.
All right, the way I see it is my eyes have been opened, all right? There's a lot of bad in this world, but there's still some good left in it. Even if you can't fight, and she just kind of shrugs, there's still some good worth fighting for.
I learned about some, I guess, she kind of thinks for a second, where creatures?
Fatima, I want you to consider something briefly.
Uh-huh.
How many wars have humans waged against each other?
Quite a few.
Having grown up human, do you feel that makes you one of the people who was involved in those wars or responsible for it?
But humans are stupid. That's what I was told.
She gets startled into a smirk on that. That was funny. She actually brings a hand up to kind of cover it because that shouldn't be funny, but it fucking was. Unrai, we are not human, but we are still people. Our nation is warlike. And when we make mistakes, we make very, very big mistakes. But there are still fewer wars in our history, I think, that are named, that are noted, than there are in human history.
But when the White Howlers, I think that's what they're called.
Oh, God!
Aiden kind of snarls a bit.
10 Point goes pale.
Colin's looking for his tobacco, but it's not there. We're in the Umbra.
What?
Who told you about them?
She just shuts up again. She was just like, she shuts up again. It's like her face snaps back to you and she just shuts up.
Who told you about them?
Chloe Brenner?
Did she?
She said they went down and they fought.
Twist. The slow head tilt. She taught you about them.
She shakes her head.
You look over at 10 Point.
Like her head will slap back to Helena. Like she was like, she said that, right? Like,
Yeah, 10 Point is still looking decidedly pale. The hand is still up over her mouth, but it's not to hide a smile anymore. She's just obviously trying to get her shit together and blatantly in shock.
As you kind of snap to Helena, she just kind of looks at you a little bit confused, raises an eyebrow, like the concerned look on your face of why, like, you're looking at it. She kind of like, what? What?
When they were talking about the history, she was saying that how the guru did things that they weren't proud of.
She scratches her head and kind of looks down, rubbing her eyes a little bit. I can see pretty clearly, like, there are cogs ticking, but they aren't going the right way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember a lot about it. I need to go over the notes again, but I can't use my fucking book.
What? And I. Granted, I was mean, but it was the way she was explaining it. I didn't want to be a guru.
Aiden just takes a long breath.
Is that wrong? she honestly doesn't know.
You've done
The expressions are just putting her on tilt.
You've done nothing wrong, Fatima. I want to make that clear. You've done nothing wrong. Okay? He'll look over at 10 Point. Just, he can clearly tell he's furious.
10 Point is getting her shit together. She's finally lowered her hand again. And again, just looks so keenly, almost like to this point, distressed for the poor cub.
And I guess the I know about were sharks. She said that they were were sharks. She didn't go into much detail about that.
Andre, here, come here. We are going to start at the beginning, and we are not going to worry about this talk of other changers, of fallen tribes, of old wars. It is a history, like you would read in a book. Don't feel as though it means that you are going to be expected to snuff out an entire people. Here. She'll just fold herself down onto the ground. Beckoning her over.
She doesn't know. It's not defiance. She's honestly okay. She looks at you and then she kind of starts shaking a bit. And she says, is it so wrong for me to want to be human?
No, it's not.
Oh, of course not. It's all you've ever known.
So why am I expected to change?
Because you're not human. Not anymore. Because out there, in that city, there's a thing that's come wanting to take everything. They want to kill you.
Mm-hmm.
They want to kill your mother. They want to kill all of us here. They want to corrupt it and turn it into something horrific. You have to learn how to fight and learn how to know. But first, before you can ever pick up a weapon, before you can ever pick up anything, you have to know everything. Know how to do things. Know what it is you're fighting for. Who you're fighting for. You have to learn to accept before you can ever make a stand to do something.
Meanwhile, 10 Point is hunkered down, cross-legged, just in the dirt there on the training grounds, and has also cast a glance up to Helena and patted the dirt to one side, and again will just very, very calmly reach out, glancing over to Fatima and pat the dirt on her other side.
She looks terrified.
I'm not going to hurt you, and I'm not going to tell you something distressing. I'm going to explain to you. I'm going to show you why this is important. It's not a hard lesson. It's not a bunch of wars. It is very simple, but it explains a lot.
Okay.
Helena sits down.
Takes a seat.
And yeah, she'll just lean forward and, using that dirt there, begin tracing with her fingers, essentially drawing out a like the very kind of very simple Triskelion, just the 3-pointed type of triangle. So when Gaia created the world, when she created this place, she led by creating the Triad. And the Triad is a trio of very powerful spirits. They are called, and she will tap each point in turn, the Wild, the Weaver, and the Worm. And so she will start placing her finger at the point of one. The Wild is the very spirit of creation. It's pure, joyous, chaotic creation. It makes everything. Everything we see, everything we encounter, everything we live. It is the point of creation for all these things. The second branch of the Triad, and she will begin tracing around, not straight lines to create a triangle, but as if creating a circle around it. Creates an arc between the first point and the second. Now everything that has been created has to be given order, and so it is the Weaver's duty to take what is made and to give it a purpose. The Weaver is why fish know how to swim. The Weaver is why humans create. The Weaver is why birds fly and how they migrate. The Weaver gives a purpose and a meaning. And then eventually, and she traces her finger around now to the third point, and eventually all things come to an end. And the worm is destruction. It is the thing that ends all that is created. It is a natural part of the cycle, so that in turn, she brings around again to the first point, kind of completing the circle, so that in turn, the Wild can continue to create. This is how the Triad is meant to function. Now, many, many generations ago, far back before we have record, something happened to this balance. The Weaver, and she again raises a finger to point to the topmost point of the Triad, saw everything that she gave purpose to, that she took the time to set order to, destroyed. And she became maddened by this. She thought that if she took things into her own hands, she could watch her creations go on forever, watch the things that she had put order to continue to perpetuate that order forever. And so she went and she bound the worm. She tied him up tight in her threads to keep him from doing his job, to keep him from serving his purpose. And the worm, bound as he was, unable to do everything that he had been created to do, he too went mad. And so now, instead of simply ending things in the way that they are meant to end, he reaches further and further, trying always to do more, trying always to make up for what he was disallowed. He has become corrupted and tainted. And so now it is not simply a matter of things dying when it is their time. He stretches out, and he corrupts, and he taints, and he spreads like a disease. And left to his own devices, left without anything to control him, he would spread across this planet. He would kill everything. He would snuff out Gaia herself. Things that I have heard of, like when oil spills and it just flows further and further out, choking birds, choking fish, choking water, choking everything. It is like that. Now, Gaia placed us here to be her teeth and her claws. And we have, perhaps in our past, turned this in the wrong direction. But what we are here to do, and she taps very pointedly at that one point of the Triskelion, is to protect her from this. The worm has to be controlled to a point. Its efforts to reach far, far beyond where it has any right to be has to be cut back. So we are forever fighting the worm and the taint that it's trying to spread. If we were not here in this park, the humans of this city would be dead. If we were not here in this park, something, whether it was deathly smokes or bad drugs or tainted food, something would spread and people would die in incredible numbers. And the worm doesn't do it because they are human. It doesn't care what it's killing or what it's corrupting. It would kill the people. It would kill the animals. It would taint the air. It would taint the water. It would kill the earth so that nothing could grow. So we have to be here to fight it. And the reason we are here in particular, and she lifts up her head and kind of orients briefly and then points back towards the cairn heart, is the cairn. There's a place here, deep in our sept, that is a wellspring of life. It is a wellspring of Gaia. It is a holy place. It is a good place. And if we were not here to defend it, it would be the first thing to go. Does this make more sense? I hope. The things that we fight, they are tainted by the worm. They are led by the worm. They are tempted to do wicked things by the worm. And we have to keep that in check. We don't kill for fun. We don't kill for pleasure.
She shakes her head. It seems a little out there. I won't call you a liar, but it just seems out there. And
she thinks about it for a moment, lifting her head, kind of looking around for inspiration, and finally kind of licks her lips and points. Like, just off, because, let's face it, there's no amount of park horizon that outdoes the high rises and the city skyline. And so she will point out that way. And, you know, Fatima has been through a lot. She's had to process a lot, and it may not have been a thing that she's had a chance to do previously. But here in the Umbra, looking out at the cityscape, you know, the cobwebs are there, stretching between all the buildings. Do you see the weaver's webs?
And she'll look up. And it just kind of dawns on her, like, oh.
These are things that I could show you, things of the worm. But we would have to go out where it is very unsafe, especially for cubs. But you will see signs of the worm. You will see signs of the wild. And the weaver, especially here, is very prevalent. Humans create things that have a lot of order. They're perfect boxes to live in. They're computers. The city is the weaver's playground. The problem is that the worm hides in her webs, where she is, well, where they are harder to reach. It's not that she means to shelter the worm, but that is where it is easiest for it to hide. These aren't just myths and stories. I know they sound strange to a human, but these things are real. They're very real. Just so much as the spirits here are real. And I mean, it's not as if there's just an abundance of spirits fucking everywhere, but I mean, let's face it, 10 Point has, like, the faintly, like, ever so faintly maybe luminescent antlers. You know, Helena is wearing some pretty heavy fox spirit heritage, and even Fatima is kind of glisteningly aglow.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. There's the fact that things like pigeons dart around through the park. There's a mouse spirit that's literally just kind of chilling on one of her antlers, hanging out, cleaning his little whiskers, being a bro.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's all manner of spirits that are just kind of ambient and flitting around and doing their thing.
She nods.
Now, all of us are going to have to fight. Sooner or later, if only to defend yourself and those you care about. But at least for you, it is not the focus of what Luna intends for you.
I guess. Okay. So what is my purpose?
Luna assigns us all a purpose when we are born, based on what face she shows when we are born. And you are like me. You are like Helena. You're a Theurge. While there are those like Colin, and she'll nod his way, who are the true warriors of the nation. And there are those like Myria, and she'll aim a nod to Aiden, who were born in the dark of the moon, and who are there to question, and to watch, and to slink, and to know. For us, we speak to the spirits, because just as you are human and wolf, you are also spirit. They are like kin to us. For some of us, more so than others. And she'll reach over and actually ruffle Helena's hair. Her tie to Fox is obvious. And your tie, she squints briefly,
Mm-hmm.
to Helios and his brood and his kin, is very clear. But we are all tied to the spirits. And the spirits aid us in all of our fights, in all of our work. They teach us to do things we would otherwise never be capable of. They aid us directly and indirectly. And you and your sister and I, and Garm as well. We are the ones who speak to them. There are some contracts and some deals that are as old as time between our people and theirs. But we are the ones who can forge new deals and new understandings between ourselves and the spirits and elicit their aid. We can make things like this, and she'll pluck a Gaia's breath out of her swag. Just a little clay pot, painted white and blue, odd little symbols on it, that she will actually offer over, hold out very clearly for her to take.
So what is this?
This is called a Gaia's breath. Inside, she'll tap the cork, which has been sealed pretty firmly onto the neck, resides a water spirit. And while there are times that we may have to fight, this, with the deal that I've made with the spirit inside, will heal our allies. It's not all about killing. If you were to concentrate hard enough on your connection to Gaia, or offer up a point of that energy, a measure of it, to the spirit inside, it would awaken, and it would rush out, and it would heal either you or the one that you intended it to be used upon, saving them from the brink of death. And you will be perfectly capable of making these and many other incredible things.
Really?
Of course. I'll be teaching you myself.
And she gets like that odd skeptical look in her face, but she doesn't say anything, but it's obvious.
She kind of smirks, and for the sake of perhaps, because seeing is believing, we'll bring her bag around to plop into her lap and proceed to we'll just say the violin case. We'll reach in and begin to pull out a violin case that is much longer than that bag is deep. Like it's straight up Mary Poppins bag style, yo. And she'll set the case in front of her. We are the mystics, the shamans, the druids, whatever you wish to call it. You can already, I imagine, hear spirits, though if you cannot, I will teach you to speak to them. And it is you who will broker deals. And it is you who will calm them. And it is you who will marshal them to aid us. Just like Helena, just like me, and just as I will teach Garm.
And this,
Sorry, go ahead.
she's nodding. She gets it, and I guess for the first time in a while, it looks like she's actually listening to what you're saying. Like,
and for what it's worth, she's, after talking this much, has finally kind of gotten back to a point of ease, and will actually sit back a bit so that there's a little more clear space between the two cubs, glancing between them. I know you're going to have questions, and a lot of them. But we at least are safe ones to ask. I will be mentoring you, most likely, as I am Helena. And well, not everyone appreciates being questioned, and she'll kind of grin faintly. She'll gesture over to Aiden. Myraya is a safe one to approach when you're curious, when you have questions. Colin is also a safe one to approach when you have questions. And she'll point over, though he is decidedly dour. Pulls a bit of a face, just to try to get a reaction out of Colin, mostly.
Colin's reaction's a Colin face. How about that shit?
He just gets grumpy. Just because he's seen Step Brothers about, I don't know, what, 40, maybe 50 times now?
I unplugged it. I unplugged them both.
You did?
I've downloaded a manual. I have a screwdriver now.
You know, you do know that you'll figure it out. All I'm going to say is you might want to... You'll figure it out. Kind of winks at 10 Point.
10 Point does look decidedly amused. We'll glance aside at Fatima. Well, it seems strange now. Once you've had time to learn and to realize everything you can do, once you've made it to being an adult and a Cleith, people will come to you for wisdom.
She audibly laughs at that.
I mean, 10 Point's not offended.
Yeah,
I'm literally the worst the urge.
You have
don't
time.
worry.
She'll actually encourage Helena by leaning back and shushing a bit.
Don't worry, you'll see. Oh.
Well, I found places for two of you now. And she kind of nibbles on her lip looking over at Helena and decides to make a game of this a little bit. You already have a place, a den, even, one might say, where you feel comfortable. And your brother. You've seen him, I hope?
Kind of squints.
Have you seen Garm in the Umbra?
No.
He takes after Fire Drake. Scaled. Very fond of flames. And so to give him a place to feel comfortable and to retreat to, I showed him the forge. As you can imagine, he took to it very nicely. So she'll gesture over to Fatima and then look again to Helena. So for her.
Do what for her? She kind of just blurts out.
And I mean, 10 Point is smiling in a very good-natured way, and actually fairly well at ease, all things considered. It's a fairly open expression, contrary to her norm.
Mm-hmm.
All of us have places where we feel most at ease in this place.
Okay.
I stay at the rock. I stay at the shrine to my totem. Your brother Garm is touched by Fire Drake's spirit brood, and he naturally finds it very comfortable to be in the forge. So, Helena, if you were to try to find a place where she would be the most comfortable, a place that might appeal to her, what would you suggest?
I don't know what I it's confusion. Helena.exe had stopped working.
She's grinning.
I'm good with animals. I mean, just shrugs.
There are far more than animal spirits.
Well, that doesn't mean I'm very good with those.
Helena, before you came here, not what did you do as a job, not things like that, but what did you do for fun? What appealed to you? What made you happy?
I used to, funnily enough, sit in a park and either draw or play my guitar.
And she turns her glance around to the other cub. And you?
I like dancing and being in the sun. Before I was told I had to grow up, and that made me look like my mom said poor, so I stopped.
Brown knits at that kind of mindset because it's a little beyond her, but she still smiles broadly enough. Instead of putting those things away to do what is grown up, do it more. There are many, many spirits that appreciate being danced for or danced with. And being out in the sun, it will make you happier. It will make you feel more at home. Maybe the sheep's meadow. It's big, it's open.
Pretty sunny.
Mm-hmm. There are places you can retreat to, even here. And if going and dancing out in the big open field in the sun makes you feel better, then do it. There are spirits that will be attracted to the things that you do and the things that you love.
So I don't have to lose everything.
Of course not. You said you were concerned about your family, of course.
My mom is all I have. It's just been me and her for the longest.
Have you been allowed to contact her yet?
She shakes her head no. I got my stuff, but I haven't spoken to her yet.
Do you think that you could make up a reason that she would understand? Something that would calm her nerves and make her happy and give you a chance to talk to her and calm your nerves, but would explain why you can't see her for a while? Not unless she meets you here at the park, at least.
I don't know what I would say, but what would you say?
10 Point gives kind of a helpless shrug because human life is so beyond her. In fact, she will just for the sake of saying it kind of helplessly shrug. I have never lived life as a human. I have never done your classes, your jobs. I don't know. But I'm sure there's something. There's almost always some kind of reason. She kind of glances hopefully up at Aiden and at
Like,
Colin, like surely
Aiden?
someone,
like,
like surely there's something.
Colin's just sitting there like, what?
Just just rub his chin. I mean, I didn't have that problem when I was a cub, so phew. What did you work as again before all this?
I was trying to be a doctor.
You're
And
on
did you live with your
placement.
mother?
Huh?
Yeah, look over at Helena.
Helena kind of sinks down as she blurted out something that she wasn't really supposed to.
What she said.
What did she say?
You're on work placement.
Okay.
Say it's taking up a lot of your time. Shifts are too long. You just, haven't got really much time for anything else but work and study. I mean, your mother will be sad, but hey, she's anyway, concerned about your education. She'd probably be delighted.
All right. I think I can make something up. But that sounds closer to the truth. Yeah, she shakes her head. Yeah, okay.
Sometimes adding a grain of truth in a lie often makes the lie easier.
All right.
And if it makes it easier, perhaps an exchange. If you've learned so much about healing as humans do it, there's certainly more that I could learn about that in exchange for teaching you.
How long does it usually take?
Learning enough to become an adult.
She shakes her head.
With a like shake or nod.
Well, like nod her head, like yeah, like how long?
It depends on the cup. Some take to it very quickly and some are slower to learn. I imagine that once you've set your mind to it, it will not be long.
Also depends on what tribe you're going for too.
Mm-hmm.
I know about the cat, the um child of Gaia, and that's it.
And have you talked to the actual tribe people? Like
She shakes her
people
head.
of
Yeah,
that tribe?
she nods.
Do not. Okay. First thing you're going to need to do, because your young parents can only give so much, because they'll tell you everything, but they're not from those tribes yourself. My advice is to go to different people from the different tribes and ask them what their tribe is like. Ask them about them. Have questions about them. Because you'll get the basic, what everyone knows about the tribe. But if you're choosing a tribe, you're choosing the people you're going to be with. Your brothers, your sisters, your tribe mates. Take your time and comb through everything. Ask about everything.
So, what are you?
I'm a Fianna.
What's that?
Fianna. You'll grin. We're children of Stag. That's our spirit totem.
What's a stag?
Like a gigantic deer, basically.
It is exactly what a stag is. But stag as a totem represents much more than simply a deer.
Okay.
You'll find that many spirits represent not just physically what they resemble, but everything that you imagine when you think of that thing. When you see a dove spirit, you will see more than just a dove. They are impossibly white because they represent being pure. They represent peace. And so when they wish it, it is very hard to become angry in their presence. They're very tranquil and they make the very air around them tranquil. They represent healing, and so they teach us to heal. It is the same with most spirits. They are more than just what they appear, and they represent all of the things that you might think of when you think of every tale you have heard. So a stag is more than just a stag.
I was trying to explain it in simpler terms to a point that you'd understand. You'd stare at her very evenly.
She'll smile and laugh.
My, look what fine hands 10-point has right now. Very hand-shaped.
You just pat her on the head twice, like dunk, dunk, you know. But basically, stag is a gigantic deer, but it does, like 10 points out, it means more than that, but that's for her to tell you. What I can tell you about the Fianna, we're, as you know, as you can tell by my accent and hers, and look over 10 point, we originally come from Ireland. We're people that are descended usually from the Celts. Old people and old stories, old ancestors. We honor those ways. We adhere to them as best as we can. We adhere to duty, family, and honor as much as we can. Family is everything to us. We look after the people we claim to who are our family, and we protect them with everything we have. We are passionate. Not in the sense of that our mood fluctuates, no, it's that in everything we do, we put our all into it. every picture we draw, every mile we run, every book we read, every single thing, every cup of tea you drink. You celebrate it. You celebrate life because we're all going to die in this war, one way or another. But to be a Fianna, you celebrate life in every breath, every moment you take, because when it comes for you, it will. And no matter how tough and how powerful you are and how wise you are, death will come for every door. So with a Fianna, this aspect of it is celebrate it till it's the very last. We are warriors as well as poets. We fight. We earn our rank and we sing our songs and we share in a brotherhood. That's what I can tell you about Fianna.
Why'd you pick it?
He'll smile.
I mean, not to say, you're obviously Irish, but like, why?
Oh, he'll nod. No. I was born on a Fianna sept. I was chosen to be a Fianna. When I was very young, I was brought and very much on the outcast, very much similar to you. I raged against everyone, punched everything I could find. And we went on a mission. One of the older Fianna runes picked me up because I had done something heroic. They all stood around me chanting my name and patting me on the back and calling me brother, that I was a family. And that sometimes family can be cruel and sometimes family can be the kindest thing ever. But they're still family. They're still a brotherhood to each other. And for all we are, for all I am, I will always be a brother to them. That's why I chose Fianna. Because everything I do in my life, no matter how hard or cruel or soft or gentle, is for the good of the people I care about. And the Fianna gave me that opportunity to be that person. You'll just nod quite proudly.
That's intense.
It can be. Sometimes the Fianna can be loud and boisterous, and sometimes we're soft and quiet. But one thing is for sure, we can be intense people to deal with, but I'm proud to be called one. I'm proud to have Fianna around me.
Alright.
Just nods and leans back. Look over at Colin. Will you tell her about your bloody tribe, Jesus?
We've already had that talk. She smiles.
Fatima, she came to my trailer. Simon showed up. She asked questions and they were answered. People ate food.
Amazing chili.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I've had a lot of practice cooking a lot of things like that up for a lot of cubs because you've noticed the thing that you can catch and eat here is rabbit. You cannot just live on rabbit. So I have fed a lot of cubs during my time here.
Oh, yes. A quick point.
Hmm.
The Den parents, or at least the Den father, will probably encourage you to hunt and to practice. It is good for you. But never, ever, never go after mice, rats, squirrels, small rodents. I told
Wow.
you that.
Sorry.
I explained to you that there is a cairn here. It
Mhm.
is a channel of Gaia's energy. What makes this a sept is that there is a totem spirit that has... And she pauses a second. Has essentially adopted us. She has adopted the cairn, and she has adopted us here. And she looks over us. We have an easier time landing our teeth when we snap. We have an easier time slinking and going unseen. And these are gifts that she gives to us to aid us. But in exchange for looking over us, she asks that we never kill her children. She is a great white mouse. And she will, in fact, point up to the little mouse chilling on her head, doing its little mouse thing. No mouse traps. No scaring, no chasing, no hunting. They are as much her children as we are. Most spirits, in exchange for the benefits that they give us, will ask something in return. This is what she asks. Make sure your brothers and sisters know it as well. No mice. No rodents.
Okay.
She gives a nod.
Why don't you tell her about why you joined the Fianna at 10 point? Look over and smirk at her.
Yeah. Bye.
Tipwood shoots Aiden the most betrayed look ever. Like, why would you do that? Especially since he's smirking.
Stares at her, you know. Aren't you not proud enough to talk about your people at 10 point?
Of course I am, Raya.
Well, then let the cub know.
And 10 point adopts a thoughtful look for several moments. As Mariah has said, Fianna are a very passionate people. We do everything with our whole heart. And no matter what I have been through growing in the nation, I feel fortunate that Stag reached out to me, that Stag accepted me as, in a way, kin to him. I could never have turned my back on the spirit. And while I have pride, it is perhaps not as blatant as some, but I take great pride in what I do. And I feel very strongly for my work with the spirits. I have pursued song, dance, instruments, craftsmanship. I have pursued all of these things to better myself in my duties. And while what I have as family is very small, they are precious to me, more precious than anything else. The kin here have been kind and become an extended family of their own. And while I may not be so loud, so boisterous as some of my kin, as some of my tribesmates, I still feel the need to do everything to its furthest extent, to go as far as I can push myself, to pursue it as though it could be the last thing I do. I love my totem dearly and all he represents. I love his brood, the spirits that are tied to him, and all they represent. They speak to me. And so while you may find, as you meet more of us, that I am perhaps the quietest among us, I am still in every breath, Fianna.
Um, this may come out rude, but that's not my intention.
She shrugs.
It just shrugs.
I
That's
assure you
fine.
that whatever you may ask, I have heard harsher things.
So, what's the difference between like a Metis being a Fianna and I guess a Hamid or human?
Aiden, look over to 10 Point very calmly. Fianna have different viewpoints. Some are harsher. We believe different things to what most tribes would. Probably, you look over to 10 Point, that is something you probably want to talk to your den parents about.
Okay.
Once they have answered you, if you have more questions, I would be happy to explain. But I would not necessarily steal a lesson from them. Have they taught you about Metis?
When two Guru mate, they make a Metis.
And her lips kind of curl in to create a bit of a line. They do. And all Metis are born in some way disfigured. And all Metis, upon being born, with the very, very precious rare exception, kill their mothers. We are born in Krynos. We live our early years in Krynos. That is my natural shape. And while it may seem harsh to make it a tenet that we should not be made, consider that every time a Metis is born, another Gru dies. Consider that I will never be able to breed. I will never be able to have children of my own. I have ended a family line by existing. And at least in my case, she kind of gestures vaguely upwards. The manifestation of, well, my disfigurement is very blatant and by its very nature a veil breach. I can't walk among humankind and go unnoticed or unremarked. It is cruel to create a Metis.
Aiden just reach over and put a hand on 10 Point's shoulder. Let the dim father explain it to them.
Okay.
We don't want to be influenced in your opinions when you've only just arrived.
Okay.
10 Point and I are from a very different world to most people here. We're from a more traditional sept, originally. So we have different teachings, different understandings. Not in terms of it's vastly different, just we adhere to a more older way. This place is very much a more liberal ideal. So talk to your den parents first and then come talk to us. Wouldn't be
Alright.
fair on us otherwise.
Yeah, she nods and goes quiet the second the hand touches her shoulder.
Did I say something wrong?
No. You didn't at all. Just smile very gently. I would rather not someone say that we were swaying you one way instead of you understanding many ways.
Makes sense. I'll say this. I mean, it may not mean anything coming from me, but um, I think that yeah, she may not, I guess, have children one day, but that She looks like she's searching for words. But being, I guess, a I guess a mother in a sense doesn't necessarily mean that you have to bear children. And you make a great one, I think. And children don't ask to be born. And I'm sort of, we met weirdly, but I'm kind of glad I know you.
And she does manage to pull a faint smile, if a bit of almost a sad smile onto 10 Point's features. Not like horribly sad, just this is a very sweet thing to say. And it shows. I do my best, Anrai. I may bear no children, but I can teach those that the nation has. If I am very lucky, all of you will grow to be greater than I am, and I shall hope that it's my teachings that get you there.
Well,
I'm worse scared. She smiles.
What was that, Tom?
You are a good teacher.
Then the smile evens out a bit into something a little happier. And she'll reach over and again kind of ruffle Helena's like ridiculously long hair.
Super long.
I know at least one of you will go very far indeed. And I am sure that the others of you, once we have found your stride, will go just as far. Hopefully, teaching you all together will make us a stronger sept. In the past, the other Theurges and I, we did our own things. We each appealed to different sets of spirits. We each did things in our own way. And of course, the three of you will. But if you learn to work cooperatively, you'll be able to do truly amazing things. It is a shame that there are not...
And they'll look down and look up at the sky, and we'll look over at 10 Point. We should get going. We have that thing, remember?
She glances up. Gives a light nod. In the meantime, Helena, why don't the two of you... You know where the sheep's meadow is?
She thinks for a minute. Oh, fuck it. Because I am the way I am.
Gotta apply dice to the problem every time.
Oh, she does. She knows where it is. She smiles. Yeah.
Why don't you take your guitar and take your sister to the meadow? And take some time to remember that there's more to this than fighting. Go enjoy the sun while you can until your next lesson comes up.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's an unrai?
You know what Raya means, yes?
Yes.
It is a term of respect for those above you in station. Unrai is a very similar thing. It is an older word and not one that many use. Unrai means respectfully to one below me in station.
Oh, okay.
And Yuf means well, is a respectful form of address for one who is the same rank. You won't be expected, most likely, to use more than Raya, but understanding what they mean is important. And she'll begin finally to kind of shuffle herself up from the ground. And we'll scuff out the little Triskelion she's drawn in the dirt.
Okay. Thank you.
She'll give a light nod and turn to Colin and offer him a bob of head as well. You know, I imagine going and enjoying the sun wouldn't hurt you either, Unrai.
Got things to see and people to do.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. After we're done this thing tonight, you better get ready. I'd say Chloe's going to go on a raid then after this.
Oh, what?
Gotcha.
Just give a nod.
I'll wrap my knuckles. Ready up.
He'll look over at Fatima. Nothing for you to worry about. He goes
How
in the
about
meadow.
we go to the pedo about now? Yeah, let's do that. And it's kind of horridly like stands up, dusts herself off, like, come on, Fatima, let's.
Hey, Elena.
What?
Actually, Fatima might know more about this. How good are you two at binding up wounds?
Decent.
Decent.
All right, good. I might come back a little banged up in a way I can't heal quick.
What?
You got
Next questions. Come on, Fatima, let's go.
Just when the time comes, practice your sewing skills. You're probably going to need it. He'll just shake his head as he's walking off.
Don't worry, Helena. I can't be your alpha if I'm dead.
What?
Weird. You're all weird. She just smiles, like walks, like let's go.
She stops. She just turns around and looks at Colin like, what?
Well, after you rank out to Cleith, probably going to pack up. Think we all know where you're going to end up.
Hooray! Fatima shrugs. Like,
I cannot describe the look on Helena's face right now, but the amount of sheer excitement, happiness, and adorableness is through the roof. As she goes bright red, almost as red as her hair at least. She simply says, okay. And just starts horridly pushing away Fatima towards.
why are you crying? What's going on?
Don't worry about it. No, it's fine.
And
it's fine.
Colin starts walking off with Aiden. You want to get some chicken?
Yeah. You just got your first fangirl there, buddy. You know, taps him on the back like, well done.
Look, man, all I know is that if I'm going to get shot tonight, I'm not doing it before I get some of that fried chicken.
No, it won't be tonight. You go get some chicken. We're just doing a scouting thing. It's me and 10 Point and Saoirse. But afterwards, Chloe's going to do a raid. It's going to be a big one.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's not going to exactly be against like a fucking quilting club or something easy.
No, it's always the guys with the silver bullets, and they're always going to give the big evil monologue speech like, "Ha, Guru, you're a foiled." You know,
We're going to fight you with technology. This always works out for us.
Oh my god. Yeah, 10 Point will trail behind them, shaking her head idly as they make stupid voices because bless their little souls. All right. And so I suppose as this group splits up, we will say, thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. And we will see you next time on the Living World of Darkness, Elementary School across New York.